So after all of the noise over the holiday season, it turns out that the Nintendo Switch 2 has actually sold extremely well, selling 17.37 million total units since June 5th, which is unbelievable. Holy crap, bro. And then the top selling games as well. Mario Kart World has now crossed 14.03 million units sold. Donkey Kong Bananza is now sitting at 4.25 million. Pokemon Legends ZA, in just a few months, has sold 3.89 million units, and Kirby Air Riders sneaking into the million sellers there at 1.76 million. So we're going to dissect all of these numbers in this video, so make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe with your thoughts on all of this. And let's just jump into the console sales, because we were, over the past little bit, we've been looking at the holiday sales, especially with Black Friday and all that, and it was looking bleak because the PlayStation actually double outsold the Switch 2 during Black Friday, which is really crazy given that the Switch 2, you know, had just come out and this is its first year and whatever. But the Switch 2 is actually outpacing the Switch 1 in terms of sales, even after the slow Black Friday and holiday seasons. It turns out that it wasn't as severe as we had previously thought. And of course, with console sales comes game sales as well. And Mario Kart World has kind of broken off from that, like, what, 98% attach rate that it has had for ever since launch, really. And it's now, what, 3 million behind the Switch 2? But it's still selling unbelievably well. This is probably one of the best-selling games of all time. It is now sitting at 14 million sold in less than a year. 14 million sold. That is unbelievable. I know a lot of that might have been with the bundle and whatnot, but that is still an unbelievable amount for a game that we like to consider somewhat mediocre. I mean, we've been saying that it's been disappointing ever since launch and whatever. Clearly does not impact the sales whatsoever, which kind of makes me think that we're probably not going to get any sort of DLC for it for a long bit, because clearly the game is doing just fine on its own. I think adding DLC would probably complicate things a lot more than they need to be honest with you. I don't think Nintendo's going to be up that alley. And then, of course, we got Donkey Kong Bananza, which I am kind of surprised isn't selling well, but it is definitely doing extremely well. 4.25 million is quite a number, man. That is quite a number to achieve. Now, especially for the first 3D Donkey Kong game in, like, what, 20 years? Genuinely insane. And, of course, Pokemon Legends ZA, probably one of the biggest surprises for me specifically, is seeing that sell 4 million on, this is only Switch 2, by the way. This is not including the Nintendo Switch 1. This is Switch 2 only, selling 4 million copies in less than a few months. That's admirable, really. I mean, I think it's 2.5 months, actually, because I think it came out October 17th. That is pretty freaking good for a game that people were blasting online for a while for, you know, not being where it should be. But yes, having the Switch 2 edition sell that much is quite crazy. Kirby Air Riders, 1.76 million. Now, you might think that's low, but I'm gonna be real, it's not. That is really good for a game as niche and as, like, random as Kirby Air Riders was. That is extremely good for something like that, especially considering it was full price. It was a $70 game. If they made it 60, maybe it would have sold a little bit better. But yeah, 1.76 million is an unbelievably high number for a game that nobody really expected to do much of anything, really. And Sakurai absolutely carried. The absolute GOAT, bro. Sakurai is the GOAT. Now, this is a really positive output from Nintendo. Like, they, I mean, in my opinion, I feel like they haven't really done too much other than these games. After Bananza released, I feel as though they've kind of dropped off when it comes to those, like, huge releases and whatnot, because ever since Bananza came out, we've had 2 Switch 2 exclusives from Nintendo, and that is Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, and Kirby Air Riders, and that's really not enough, I feel. And if they're gonna, I feel like these sales are extremely strong. Like, they've already met their forecast. Nintendo's already met their sales forecast for the fiscal year, which is crazy. In fact, I think they actually extended it to about, like, 20 million. They will hit that 100%. When we get the next sales report in, what, May or something, it will definitely be it'll be crazy. It'll be crazy to look at. I am expecting 20 million easy. That is probably what we're looking at here. But the fact that it has done as well as we've seen is quite crazy, given that the output, I mean, we've got a Mario Kart game, we've got Donkey Kong, and it seems like Mario Kart is absolutely leading the charge. Again, selling 14 million copies in less than 8 months. That is unbelievable. That is unrivaled, man. Literally, I think it's actually less than 6 months. Holy crap, dude. This is crazy. That's actually crazy. But there are some bad points here, and we will start with Hyrule Warriors. Did not crack the million system seller here, which is really, that's really something. I mean, Hyrule Warriors, again, that's more niche than Kirby Air Riders, I feel, because, you know, Kirby's a beloved character and whatnot. Hyrule Warriors obviously has all the Zelda characters in it, but it's not like a main line. It's a spin-off. Like, it's more of a spin-off than Kirby Air Riders was, because Kirby Air Riders seems like its own series. Hyrule Warriors definitely one of those like more niche games, and the fact that it hasn't sold 1 million yet, that is a little surprising. It is one of the only Switch 2 exclusive games from Nintendo that we've gotten, so I would have expected that to at least cross 1 million, but clearly that did not happen. Now, the more surprising one, in my personal opinion, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond is not on the Switch 2 bestseller list, which is really not good. That game was announced back in 2017, and it has been a rocky time for that game. A lot of people were calling it disappointing. Some of the videos I watched on it were very critical of it, which is not what you want for a game that had been in development for 8+ years now. It finally comes out, and it did come out on the Switch 1 and Switch 2, so it may have sold 1 million combined between the two editions, but it's not really safe to say, because the Switch 2 edition should have, I mean, given that it's got 17 million users on it, at least 17 million people on it, and Metroid Prime hasn't even sold 1 million of that. You got Kirby Air Riders. I know it came out a little bit before, but the fact that Kirby Air Riders is almost at 2 million before Metroid Prime is even at 1 is deeply concerning for Metroid Prime fans, and I feel for them. I mean, I really do. I feel for them, because they've been through quite the ringer as of late, and especially considering that, I mean, they got Dread, but like they've been waiting for that Metroid Prime 4. It was supposed to be their big break, and now people are even asking if we're ever gonna get another Metroid Prime game. And given that this one did not sell very well, or is not selling well as of now, is deeply concerning. I would be very concerned as of now. Now, it could be something, it could be different. We'll have to see. Again, it is still very early. In fact, that is less than a month in. But given that your game launched in December, and it is probably like prime time, other than like Black Friday and like these sales that go on throughout the year, like that is probably the best time to release a game. The fact that it couldn't even crack 1 million on one of the if not the best-selling game console, or the fastest-selling console in history, is deeply concerning. And if I were Nintendo, I don't know if I'd want to invest that much time and money into another Metroid Prime game. And that's a shame, because Metroid Prime's pretty freaking dope. I've never played it, but genuinely, I think it looks really cool. Even Metroid Prime 4 looks really neat. And it does suck that the Switch 2 or the Switch 1 versions did not sell as well as, again, a game like Kirby Air Riders, man. Like, that's crazy to me that it didn't sell as well as that. But regardless, the Switch 2 seems to be doing extremely well right now, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. We'll have to see. Again, I don't know what it was all about, because all I was hearing, man, was that the Switch 2 really wasn't selling too well during Black Friday or the holidays. So I was expecting quite a low output when it comes to this next sales figures. No, as of December 31st, 17 million consoles sold, and their forecast was around that, and we are literally, what, 5 months away from that still? Nintendo's met that and then some. It's crazy. I could see by June 5th of this year, I genuinely believe that this console could be upwards of maybe 23 million, 25 on the high end, 23 would probably be my guess. I'm not entirely sure, but that is an incredibly high amount of freaking consoles sold. And let's get into the last little bit of this, which is the future. What does it look like? And I'm currently recording this on February 3rd. I think I'm going to release this video on this day as well. So we don't know what Nintendo's going to do with their next Direct, but I have been very critical of Nintendo's upcoming output when it comes to their new games and whatnot. Like, we've got Mario Tennis, we've got Pokemon Pokopia, we've got, I mean, Tomodachi Life is literally a Switch 1 game. It's not even a Switch 2 game. So, what else do we have on the horizon? It looks fairly bleak, and given that the September Direct, a lot of people were considering it one of the worst of all time. I don't think so. I mean, we got Fire Emblem as well. That was the last announcement, but we don't have a killer app. We don't have a system seller this year so far. Given that Nintendo has been kind of riding the coattails of Mario Kart and I guess Bonanza as well, and Pokemon. Pokemon has carried this game, or carried this console very, like, but the fact is, 4.25 million in less than 3 months is absolutely crazy to me. So, and not to mention, the next Pokemon game could be coming out this year. That would be a game that would be a system seller, 1 billion%, without a shadow of a doubt, would be a system seller. But again, I feel like we need something a little bit more conventional from Nintendo, like a 3D Mario, some big multiplayer game that, you know, isn't really Mario Kart, you know what I mean? My theory was Smash Brothers. We could also do with, I mean, Splatoon Raiders hasn't been formally announced for this year yet, but it would be a good thing to get on top of that. Nintendo needs to have a killer app, and given that we've had rumors of this February Direct being a partner showcase, it has me worried about the future of it, because sales can easily drop off. I know the Switch 2 has now outsold the Wii U, not surprising at all. The Switch 1 has also outsold the Nintendo DS to become the best-selling Nintendo console of all time, which is super well-deserved. The Switch 1 era has literally carried the Switch 2 as well. Literally, most of the Switch 2's output are Switch 2 editions, and the fact that, I mean, I maintain this to this day, is that if Switch 2 did not have backwards compatibility with the Switch 1, I feel like all of these sales numbers would be, they'd be irrelevant. Like, really, what would have happened? What would have happened? But again, the Switch 2 has very solid Switch 1 compatibility. We also have, there are also some rumors that YouTube is coming to the Switch as well, which, honestly, it's a bigger deal than you think, because you go through anyone's Switch profile, and you'll see that they've probably got a minimum 100 hours on YouTube. So I feel like if Nintendo were to do some sort of Direct announcing that, as weird and unconventional as it would be, I think that would be a really neat thing for them to do, is to kind of highlight that, hey, YouTube's coming to the console. You can watch videos on your Nintendo Switch 2. Finally, it's got 4K support. Enjoy. Like, I think that would actually be a pretty dope announcement. That's just coming from me, though. That's just coming from me. But, yeah, I think Nintendo needs to, they need to make an announcement, man. They need to have, they need to have something go their way. I know that these sales numbers are looking extremely positive, but they can go down at any moment. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. I genuinely think, again, that this next Direct needs to be huge, man. But, yeah, that is going to be it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.